Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a former police officer facing even more burglary charges. We're there as he has his day in court.
Oh, I tripped. I fell into my wall. I tripped over him. He's always around my feet.
Plus, the man charged with killing his daughter's dog speaking out, saying it was all an accident. How police are responding tonight.
I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible, but Bridgeport needs some cleaning up.
Plus, getting ready to head back to the ballot box in Bridgeport, how the community is reacting as a new primary date is proposed.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Carmen Chow. A former police officer of two towns faced a judge this morning.
He's accused of breaking into several small businesses throughout the state while he was supposed to be enforcing the law. But
these are just the latest charges. He's also accused of committing another crime.
It's just crazy to find out it was a police officer who was breaking into places.
The owner of Old Saybrook Pizza Palace and Restaurant stunned to find out the person accused of breaking into his business back in May was a police officer. He's 37-year-old Patrick Hemingway, formerly of the Glastonbury and New Britain police departments.
Saw footprints, saw, he had stepped on a air handler out there, and he got through the window. But once he tried to enter the building, my alarm went off.
Though nothing was taken at the pizza shop, back in February, prosecutors say Hemingway also broke into the old Wethersfield Country Store where a cash register drawer was stolen with $200 inside. These crimes were committed while Hemingway was a police officer for the Glastonbury Police Department. His attorney, James E. Sulik, speaking to Fox 61 after the hearing.
It's not alleged in the warrant that anything was taken. That may affect the charge of burglary versus trespass. We'll see.
On top of the dozens of business burglaries, Hemingway was already held on a $1 million bond for his computer crime charge from 2 months ago. Hemingway allegedly accessed the state's criminal database illegally while also he was a Glastonbury police officer.
He's to be subject to IPS GPS if he finds out.
Attorney Sulik highlighted Hemingway's time in war during the hearing.
Did 2 tours in Afghanistan, did combat in Afghanistan as an infantryman, and then flew combat missions as a helicopter pilot.
Hemingway is being held on a $15,000 bond. He is expected to reappear in court in January.
Well, Democratic voters in Bridgeport will head back to the polls as officials propose a date for a new primary in the mayor's race there. But more importantly, leaders have proposed new rules to help limit absentee ballot fraud. Fox 61's Matt Caron looked into the new regulations and whether it's enough to ensure a fair election.
Well, let's start with the proposed date, January 23rd. It'll be the third time in the last 5 months that voters have been asked to cast their ballot on who they want to lead their city. And depending on who wins, they may even have to do it a 4th time, but this time with new proposed rules surrounding absentee balloting. After Judge William Clark tossed out 2 rounds of voting, the Office of the Secretary of the State has proposed January 23rd as the date of Bridgeport's new Democratic mayoral primary.
I know we have another 2 months to go, but we fought too long and too hard to get to where we at. We are upholding the democracy not only in Bridgeport, but Connecticut, but the United States as a whole. And Bridgeport cannot be used as a poster child for voter fraud.
Which is why the Secretary of the State has also proposed temporary new rules surrounding absentee balloting, meant to cut down on fraud. Absentee ballots received through the drop box will now be stamped so they can be distinguished from mailed ballots. Anyone who requests more than 5 absentee ballot applications will have those applications assigned serial numbers for tracking. And finally, no one will be allowed to request an absentee ballot application before December 29th.
That's important because we know that the culture in Bridgeport is about harvesting. It's about harvesting old applications which are blank on dates and putting dates based on specific election.
So, do the new rules give voters more confidence?
Needed to have that from the start, but better late than never.
I guess they'll be more scared to do that until it's fraud and stuff. So hopefully everything will come out right this time. It'll be over with.
whatever it takes to, let the appropriate candidate win. That'll be what I'll be looking forward to. And we need the city and state to, kind of step up their game.
A sentiment echoed by the Gomes campaign, who notes it's a short-term fix to a systemic problem.
Secretary of the State, along with the state legislators, and also those here in Bridgeport, need to step up and make sure that we have a solution for the long term to restore the integrity when we talk about the election process here in Bridgeport.
And after alleging absentee ballot fraud in 2 rounds of voting, I asked Gomes the question.
Are you prepared to accept the results of whatever the January primary shows?
I'm confident. I am ready to accept it.
If Joe Ganim wins the new primary, he becomes mayor. If John Gomes wins, there will be a new general election proposed to be held February 27th. By the way, we reached out to the Ganim campaign today for a comment. We did not hear back. His legal team has until tomorrow to file any proposed changes to those new absentee ballot rules. Reporting in Bridgeport, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Matt, thank you. What a journey that election has become, huh? All right, tonight, time for a check on the forecast now. Beautiful day outside. Temperature is pretty warm for this time of year.
It was nice out there. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. Hey, Rach.
Hi, and if you were busy today, life happened, you didn't get a chance to spend some time outside, we get a redo tomorrow, once again with temperatures in the 60s. But after tomorrow, we see cooling temperatures heading into the upcoming weekend and especially heading into Thanksgiving week. 54 degrees right now in the city of Hartford. We're in the mid-40s, though, for New Haven and upper 40s in Norwich. It won't be too chilly outside tonight. We're looking at overnight lows that will end up dropping back into the mid-30s to right around 40 degrees, but most of the state around 40, with areas of patchy fog developing as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. So check in with the morning show crew. Otherwise, we're looking at partly cloudy skies. It won't be quite as sunny as it was outside today, but still with temperatures like this, it's tough to complain. We're pushing 60 degrees at noon, and we're looking at high temperatures climbing into the low and even some mid-60s possible as we head through the afternoon. There is a chance for an isolated shower stepping into Saturday morning, but most of the state likely ends up staying dry. We are watching the potential for a bigger rain and wind event heading into next week as we gear up for Thanksgiving travel. We'll talk about it. Your full forecast coming up, guys.
All right, Rachel, thank you. An early morning fire in Killingly under investigation now. Crews sharing these photos from the scene. It broke out about 1 this morning at a vacant building near Mill and Ballewville Road. No injuries to residents or firefighters have been reported, and the cause of that fire, as we said, is still under investigation now. A former Thomaston theater director faces even more sexual assault charges now. 45-year-old Daniel Ceccavettis was arrested again earlier this week. He is accused of having sexual contact with a minor who was volunteering at the Thomaston Opera House while he was the director there. Ceccavettis was already facing similar charges after multiple complaints that he had sexual contact with minors. Those alleged incidents date back to 2009. Ceccavettis was released on $650,000 bond.
A Northford man is now out on bond for the second time in a week tonight after police say he killed his daughter's 2-year-old dog. The man spoke with Fox 61's New Haven County Bureau reporter Julia LeBlanc as he was leaving North Branford's police headquarters about an hour ago. She joins us now live outside the police department. Julia?
Hi, Carmen. Good evening. Now, police say on Monday night when the dog, Diesel, was found dead, Silva did not take any accountability. Now, when we spoke with him tonight after posting a $15,000 bond, he told us the whole thing was an accident.
I'm not going to say none. It was an accident.
51-year-old Arnaldo Silva leaving the North Branford Police Department with his mom after posting his second bond of the week.
There's another warrant served for you that's going to be served right now.
We were there in court this morning as police arrested him for violating the terms of his initial release when he was charged on Wednesday with animal cruelty and threatening in the second degree.
Is there anything you'd like to say about the charges against you?
Charges against me?
Yeah.
What charges?
North Branford police say officers were called to Silva's Woodvale Drive home in Northford Monday night just before 11:30. It initially came in as a domestic dispute. Then police learned about the alleged assault on his daughter's 2-year-old bulldog, Diesel.
They located immediately a blood trail leading back to the what ended up being the father's bedroom.
Deputy Chief James Lovely says police found Silva with cuts on his face covered in blood. Then Diesel was found dead. Investigators also found a bloody kitchen knife in his cage.
I tripped. I fell into my wall. I tripped over him. He's always around my feet. I drank too much and I fell off.
Silva posted his court-set $5,000 bond on Wednesday, but that night, police got another call from his neighbors. Then came the second warrant.
I knew he had a problem, and I'm the type of guy that I always try to help.
But neighbor Joe Palumbo says he stopped helping Silva this year after an incident where he had to call the cops. He says time and time again, Silva would sit on his steps asking for alcohol.
The latest he's been to my house is probably 2:30 in the morning.
Because of the history, Palumbo isn't shocked to hear about Diesel, but he is heartbroken.
It's a sad, sad story, really. The dog was unbelievably, would just sit there, would not bark. You could go by and he'd just wag his tail.
Now, police tell us they have responded to Silva's home more than 20 times in recent years. He does have a court date set for tomorrow. Now, in the meantime, we did speak briefly with his daughter, Diesel's mom, and she says she just needs justice for her poor baby boy. We're live here in North Branford tonight. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. New tonight, the Connecticut Department of Transportation investigating after anti-Semitic graffiti was found at the Newington office. Officials say the graffiti was found inside a bathroom. Internal security is now looking into the matter. In a statement, officials say anti-Semitism and hate and bigotry of all forms have no place at CTDOT.
2 Wolcott mothers were arrested in connection to a crash from back in August. A car driven by Jamie Lee Medore with passenger Elizabeth Farina crashed on Woodtick Road on August 18th. Police say there were 8 kids in the car at the time of the crash. 3 of them were riding in the hatchback part of the car. A 10-year-old that was in the hatchback was thrown from the car and severely injured. Medore and Farina are charged with risk of injury to a minor.
A 16-year-old boy is facing charges after accidentally shooting himself with a ghost gun. The incident happened at a home on Ferry Street in Middletown earlier this month. Police say the teen was visiting someone else when he misfired. A 7-year-old child was near him when the gun was fired. The teen underwent surgery for his injuries and is now facing multiple charges.